Okay, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually very excited to bring you a very important update on Ethereum. I think Ethereum and some of the altcoins are looking a little bit bearish right now, which is a great opportunity, in my opinion, because I think the long term outlook for Ethereum looks extremely bullish. And the fact that we're starting to see some bearish signs in the short term is a very interesting and an opportunity, in my opinion, because if you haven't gone in yet, or if you want to add to your bags, I think there's some very interesting price targets and accumulation ranges that we'll delve into. I think one of the factors that's causing Ethereum to dump right now is the fact that Bitcoin had been pumping, and we're kind of Bitcoin leads the market as well. Whenever it has a pullback, that has an effect on the altcoins. So a few things to consider right off the bat, just a few things to note. We're in an ascending triangle here with Ethereum as well. We could also be interpreted as being within an ascending channel here as well. I think the most important exponential moving average we need to keep in mind in order to remain bullish, kind of the thing we need to understand. The most important support, I think, is the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. It's the EMA that most closely hugs either the bottom of this channel or the bottom of the ascending triangle. If we start to break below that, that is very bad news bears, very no bueno. In that case, I would say we need to reconsider the price structure of Ethereum. But ultimately, even though I'm saying we might have a short-term pullback and we see some short-term bearish signs, we're still making macro higher highs and higher lows. So the macro trend is still bullish. Let's take a look at our indicators with Ethereum here. Okay, so this is the 4 hour. So even on the 4 hour, we're starting to see some bearishness. Bearish crossovers on the stochastic. RSI making lower lows. Bearish crossover on the weighted MACD. Histogram ticking down. Bearish. As well, the 2 hour, bearish as well. Look at that. Bearish crossovers going down. Everything's going down, including the hourly, I'm sure. Yeah, everything, yeah, bearish crossover on the 1 hour MACD, which makes sense. I mean, we're seeing a pullback with the market right now. But guys, this. I mean, I'm going to talk about my short-term price targets here, but this is an opportunity, in my opinion, guys, folks, because I think it's just a matter of time before Ethereum breaks its all-time highs and vastly surpasses it. So just to kind of understand what I see happening here, I've drawn these resistance lines, these red lines, these horizontal lines based off the previous peaks, okay? As well, we're kind of in this wedge. I think whenever we break out of this wedge, it will be very helpful to understand direction for Ethereum more clearly. I think we have roughly 4 days max before you break out of this wedge. And then aside from that wedge, in terms of the more macro pattern, I think we have max 28 days before we break out of this thing. I think it's likelier than not that we break out sooner rather than later. So while we're seeing some bearish signs on our indicator. So I think there's a chance that we kind of range in between this wedge, maybe break out bearishly because the larger time frames or the hourly time frames do look bearish. Kind of the most important support range for Ethereum to remain short-term bullish is 1350 to kind of 1320, 1300. If we start to break below this region here, there's a lot of volume being picked up right here. I think we're going to fall back down to 1270 to 1200, somewhere around that range. Personally, what I would do, where I would be looking to accumulate Ethereum for the long term, is 1270 to 1200. There's not even a guarantee that we will fall back to those regions, but given them that the hourly time frames are starting to look bearish, I do think that's a possibility. If we kind of retest the lower extremity of this ascending triangle or this ascending channel here, kind of go for like a third retest, see how we tested it here and here again. I think something like that might be possible, especially if we break down from this wedge. So ultimately, I think we just need to see what way we break out of this wedge, and then to understand more of the macro trend, we need to see what way we break out of this ascending triangle here. Another thing we need to keep our eye out for is Bitcoin dominance. Whenever Bitcoin dominance rises, altcoins typically suffer. Whenever it falls, altcoins typically benefit. For those who don't know, Bitcoin dominance being the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to the total value of all cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is now worth 64.34% of all Bitcoin, of all crypto by market cap as well. The dollar index, folks, the dollar has a direct influence on other currencies such as crypto. Whenever it rises, other currencies such as crypto typically suffers. Whenever it falls, other currencies such as crypto typically benefits. It is very importantly range bound between the 50 EMA acting as resistance and the 20 EMA on the daily acting as support. Whatever way we break out is very likely to have an effect on crypto. If we break out bearishly, I think that's going to be a factor that helps crypto out. If we rally and break out bullishly further, get above this 50 EMA on the daily, that's going to be a factor that negatively affects crypto. So we need to keep our eye out for that as well. Whatever Bitcoin does, Bitcoin leads the market. Bitcoin is kind of within this very macro descending triangle. We're currently falling down within it. whenever Bitcoin decides to confidently break above this thing, it'll be very telling for direction for Bitcoin and direction for the market as a whole, because Bitcoin does indeed lead the market. So, guys, let's assume here that kind of in the midterm here, I think, let's assume that Ethereum breaks out bullishly. Could we see a $2,000 Ethereum in kind of the midterm here if we break out bullishly and start to close above these red lines? I think so. Guys, every single cryptocurrency bull run, the top altcoins reached all-time highs and vastly surpassed it. So in my opinion, it is just a matter of time before Ethereum reaches those all-time highs and vastly surpasses it. The more time goes on, the more likely it is I think that'll happen. So that's why I'm a long-term investor, guys, because I think the midterm looks good. The midterm looks bullish. I think it's a matter of time before we reach all-time highs and surpass it. And even the long-term, folks, I think we're in the beginning stages of a bull run that's likely to end around the end of 2021. I'm basing that off a few charts. Really a trading shot from TradingView. Shout out to him or that person. According to that person, Bitcoin is likely to top off around the end of September, early October this year. And Ethereum and the altcoins typically top off 1 month, about a month after Bitcoin. So I expect Ethereum to top off around October, November 2021. So by then, in my opinion, I think it is likely. I think there's a good chance, a possibility, that Ethereum reaches the tens of thousands of dollars. I think conservatively it reaches 10,000. I think more realistically 20,000, and maybe more optimistically $30,000. But in terms of long-term price predictions for Ethereum, I think a lot of it is based off Bitcoin. We need to see what Bitcoin does in order to understand what Ethereum will do. Because last time around, Ethereum reached just over 10% of Bitcoin's price at the peak. So this time around, I think it has a good chance of reaching 10% of Bitcoin's total price again at the peak. So if Bitcoin peaks out at 100,000, I think Ethereum's going to 10. If Bitcoin peaks out at 200,000, I think Ethereum's going to 20. If Bitcoin peaks out at 300,000, I think Ethereum's going to 30. And given that Ethereum and the altcoins typically peak out after Bitcoin roughly a month, we will understand. Bitcoin will be like a leading indicator at the peak of this bull run for understanding when Ethereum's going to peak out, which is great. I think Ethereum has higher ROI potential than Bitcoin at this point, and it'll be easier to understand when the top is because Ethereum and the alts typically peak out a month after. So once Bitcoin starts to drop below the 50 EMA, the 50 moving average, simple moving average on the daily for a couple days, a couple weeks, that's when you know that Bitcoin topped off and that Ethereum is likely to top off roughly a month afterwards. So guys, Ethereum is such a great long-term hold in my opinion. It's the safest play next to crypto. It's the next cryptocurrency that's likely to have institutional investors move into it. With Ethereum 2.0, a bunch of liquidity is being locked up for extended periods of time, and so now it's deflationary. They're even considering burning some Ethereum. It has a higher ROI potential than Bitcoin at this point, and it'll be easier to understand when the top is, in my opinion, in comparison to Bitcoin. So guys, that is why I am such an Ethereum bull for the long term. But you guys need to understand, cryptocurrency is highly volatile. We can have massive corrections. There's not a guarantee that we reach those prices in the long term, though I do think it's a probability. We could have 5, 10, 30% pullbacks in the short term. Understand that. Understand what you're in and the volatility in these markets. But I do think that there's great opportunity for the long term. Ethereum is by far my largest bag hold. I think Ethereum's like 50%, roughly 50% of my long-term bag hold. So, guys, those are my thoughts. I really just want to arm you guys with the knowledge you need to know to succeed in this market. Please stay tuned to this channel. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the bell icon when notified of uploads. Check out our Discord. Link for that will be down in the description. We have a few really good resources for people wanting to learn technical analysis. We talk about our trade setups, some of our trade setups, and we just talk crypto. So if you want to learn more about crypto and develop and learn as an investor and a trader and want to learn more about technical analysis, check out our Discord group. Make sure you stay tuned to this channel. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon when notified of uploads. That's it for now, folks. Take care.